Good evening, APBA football fans. This is Geoff from the APBA Football Club, and here with the first of several videos we plan to make covering the evolution of APBA football, starting with the 50s, and in this case, with the game that represents the 1957 season. This is where it all starts. Issued in 1958 as the 1959 edition, the very basic white and red box made its debut, and as you can see, it's not really a glossy box, and inside, far different from the usual what we might know as the red box with the team cards, is a very simple cardboard box with the 12 teams of the NFL for starters, and of course the lovely old cardboard dice shakers with the metal bottoms, so still with the tried and true 10-yard marker and football marker. These are a little lighter brown than we're accustomed to. Some well-worn play cards here in seemingly a slightly thinner typography, which we have not noted in our article, but not quite as bold, I don't believe, as later iterations of these cards. Now, as you can see, the team envelopes feature a thin all-cap sans serif style that lists not only the team and city, but the conference. And inside, of course, the wonderful orange-backed cards. Now you can see, typographically, we're talking about a slab serif is what we would call this. Somewhat condensed in the RPK figures. And of course, the back is the kind of reddish orange, not a pure red that appeared later on. Card stock is pretty sturdy, and in this case you'll note that the points per player are put in parentheses. In 1959, we note that for that set it appears that these parentheses disappeared for some reason. And it was interesting that in this set, which we purchased from Pete Simonelli, this is actually a set that was among Robert Henry's collection, that we went through each team because one owner, a previous owner, had apparently retooled the teams to reflect trades that happened for the 1958 season. So, but this is a complete set, 30 players per team, and one of the more interesting elements of this box is that APBA issued a complete set of quarterback corrections for the 1957 season. I've noticed, as I'm sure you have, many players have cut out these corrections and taped them to the back of the actual player card. We have these posted in our archives. Here's the original field. This one is not really used. It's, as you can see, a lighter green with thick yard line markers at 10, 20, 30, 40, etc., and the thinner black lines at the 5-yard increments. Very simple, very basic. This board reappears in the early 2000s, albeit in much thinner form. As you can see, this is a pretty good size stock, a good weight to it. This is actually the original correction sheet. That first one is a facsimile. I believe. Unless we have 2 copies here. Let's just go over this really quickly. I believe we have 2 copies, yes. My apologies. and of course the basic play boards. Now you'll notice that these seem a little more sparse than some of the versions that you see later on. In particular, you'll note that the typography in, say, the instructions is a little tighter typographically. What's really interesting to note is that on the kickoff box, you see a very heavy, relative to the rest of the lines, border. This reminds me of the days of cut and paste type, where you would have black tape in rolls that you would use to create boxes. Take out that roll of tape, half point, 1 point, 2 point, etc. And this looks to be about 2 point, maybe 3 point, and create your box. Note that number 3 on this is a TB, and 33 is a 44 out of bounds result. And on the kickoff return results, you have the A, B, and C index with results 79, 68, and 56 yards. In the early rules, up until the 70s, you had to add the defensive points of your offensive players and the offensive points of your defensive players, so that you could come up with an index for an interception return, fumble recovery, a field goal try. As you can see, the place kicks are broken down into ABC indices. Later on, of course, in the 70s, these results are then broken down by a single dice roll. Also note that plunge play results, the typography seems a little smaller than what we are accustomed to, I think, in the 70s. And these boards did begin to change later in the 60s, as has been noted, well documented on the Delphi boards. The 13 touchdown result on a kickoff return, for example, came about maybe in 68. So there it is. This is where it all begins. APBA Football, the 1959 edition, issued in 1958, representing the 1957 season. Got that? Good. Till next time.